Hello, my name is Alexander Drechsel. I work as a conference interpreter at DG Interpretation at the European Commission, and I'm German. My working languages are English, French, and Romanian. And I'm a very big fan of tablets, the iPads quite specifically, and I've been using them ever since they came out. I still have very fond memories of being on a business trip in Athens and sitting in the hotel lobby in the morning and waiting for the website to be activated where you could pre-order the iPad. And that's what I did. And I had it sent to Germany back at the time because it wasn't available here in Belgium. And then went to see my dad, who lives in Germany, and picked up the iPad and still remember of being really fascinated by it. And I pretty immediately started using it for work as well, and not only for, let's say, watching videos or surfing the web, because I just loved the small form factor and the small size, and that it was so lightweight. And I was really looking for something to replace my old laptop that I'd been using until then. I had one of these crappy netbooks that were very small, but not much fun to use. And of course the iPad was completely different. And it was also much better than the service laptop that I was using, which was much bigger and much heavier. So anyway, I've been using it ever since, and I haven't looked back, basically. What I really like about it, I mean, apart from the size and that it's so light and just nice to use, is that you can only use one app at a time, which some people don't like, but I do like it because it helps me focus on what I'm trying to do at that moment. I have a bit of a concentration problem or focusing problem sometimes, so that's good for me. And also I like that it doesn't do everything that a traditional laptop does. So I can view the documents that I need for my meeting, and what I especially like is that I can search, of course, the documents. And that I can find the definition that they're just talking about, or the article 235, which I would have spent minutes, thumbing through the document to find it before. And of course, you could do all those things on a laptop before, but I just really like doing it on the iPad because it just feels better and it's more fun. And also, there are now a few specialized apps that we can use in the booth. I mean, not only dictionaries, of course. But also terminology management apps, glossary management apps, and other apps to just find information and use information very quickly and very easily. I'll now quickly show you my workflow. So I'll try to show you how I prepare for a meeting, how I download the documents, and what I do with them, basically. It's quite easy. I just start out in the browser. So here I have opened up the SkikNet website, which is our internal intranet where we find all the meeting information and also the program for this week. And if I just go into this meeting and have a look at the documents that I need, they're all right here in the middle, and we have this handy download button that I just have to tap, and then we'll collect all the documents into one zip file. Okay, and then I just tap open in documents. And Documents is an app that I would really like to recommend. It's free on the App Store for the iPad. And as I said, it's only called Documents because what it allows you to do is to manage documents. So you can see I have a lot of stuff in here already. And there's the file that I just downloaded. It was a zip file, so sort of a container. And I have now opened it and have a folder with all the files that I need for my meeting. So for example, I have the agenda. You also see the green icons. That's a glossary that I can use. And I can just, open up with a tab and have a look at the documents inside. And the good thing is now I have them available for offline use as well. I can now rename those files. I can move them around, and let's say I just go to this PDF file. I can search with a search box, which lets me, I'll just type tab, and you can see it lets me search on the web and on Wikipedia as well. And there are two resources that interpreters, of course, like to use because they're very convenient. There you can see I have an outline of the document, table of contents. I can make bookmarks if I want to quickly jump around. Also, I can do highlights, so I just tap and hold. I can underline, or I could strike out, or I could just make a yellow highlight. And once I've done that, so let's say I've annotated the definitions in a document or important terms or phrases that I want to remember, I can find them here in this section with the annotations, which is very useful because I can now, just jump quickly back and forth between those annotations. I can also link it up to Dropbox, which I don't use for meeting documents, but which I use for private purposes sometimes. I can link it to my Google Drive, to other cloud storage services. I also have a browser built in, which I can use to browse the web, so I don't even have to leave the application, and I sometimes find myself using it throughout the entire meeting, to just use the documents that I have and look up things on the internet when I don't really know what a certain term means, or when I need to reference something, which is very useful. I could even set this up as a little Wi-Fi hotspot, and I could share files with my colleagues here in the booth who may want to use that, because sometimes we find ourselves looking for documents on the internet that we want to share with a colleague, and that's a very easy way of doing it. And of course, most of the meeting locations nowadays have a Wi-Fi connection, so it's very easy to get onto the internet and to, as I said, search something on Google or look something up in the Wikipedia, or just look at any other resource on the web that we may want to use. Now, I could also show you a very specific application that was developed by co-developed by a freelance interpreter, and it's called Interplex, which is an application to manage terminology, glossaries. It's very easy to use, and it's been around on the Mac and the PC, more specifically, for a few years, and I know many of our colleagues use it. So I could just have several databases. In this case, I have one for the Commission, one for the Council of Ministers. Those are the two institutions where I work most. So if I just go in there, I can have glossaries, let's say for certain topics, or for a given meeting. So I have one here for customs union or for public health, and I can just tap on it, open it up. This is a very small one that I just started, and I can very easily just enter terms, look them up. I have a few glossary apps here as well. I have a big one from Langscheid, which I don't use too often, which I mainly use at home when I work on my working languages or add a new working language. I have dictionaries for my other working languages and also a Wikipedia app. But actually, most of the time I use the Documents app, which I just showed you, which has all my meeting documents, and Google. So because it has most of the resources that we need, I can get to all the internet publications of the institutions, which has the terms and things that I need. But of course, I also use other apps. Apart from that, I'm a big fan of Twitter, for example. So I tweet and I read tweets of other colleagues, because I have lots of interpreters on Twitter nowadays. Lots of them are really fun to read. I read news, of course. I read longer articles. I read books. What else? I listen to music. I listen to podcasts, so sort of radio programs that are made available to download and to listen at one's own leisure. So I listen to BBC podcasts and podcasts in my other working languages, which is just great to keep up with recent developments and with my languages in general. I also give trainings to colleagues here at SCIC about using the iPad in the booth or as an interpreter. And yeah, it's quite interesting because a lot of colleagues now start using tablets, so iPads, but also other tablets at work. Many of them have been using them at home maybe for a while to just read or browse the internet, and now they've found that it's very convenient in the booth because, as I just said, it doesn't make a noise. It's very lightweight, doesn't need a lot of space in the booth. The battery lasts usually for an entire working day, which is great, so you don't have to think about having to keep it charged all the time. And yeah, it's just convenient. So I give those trainings and try to show colleagues a few tricks, how to do things, how to set up the iPad with various keyboards, for example, for all your working languages, or interesting apps that they can use. And then the small tricks, because it's very easy to use, but sometimes things are so obvious you don't see them straight away. And I try to do that. And it's also nice for me to talk about using the iPad with other colleagues, because everybody has a different app that they like and which I've never heard of before, or a tip or a trick that we can exchange, and that's just really nice because we can also exchange on our experience with the iPad. I think I would absolutely recommend getting a tablet for the booth, and I don't think it's a big question of whether it would have to be an iPad or an Android tablet. I think they're all very good by now. I'm a bit iPad biased, I admit, so I would recommend that maybe. But I think the tablet is really the perfect device for interpreters because, as I've said already, it's very small, very lightweight, doesn't have a big footprint in the booth. You don't have to think about bringing the charger necessarily because the battery lasts for a long time. You now can do, I think, all the things that you need to do in the booth and for preparation as well. There's good software available, good apps that will allow you to do your work, and it will not get in the way. I think that's the most important thing, because sometimes with a traditional PC you sort of have to think of updates, and then there's a security warning popping up and something's not working, and you have to think about the device all the time. But a tablet really gets out of the way and lets you focus on your work, which is something I really like. And of course, if you're traveling a lot, which we do as interpreters, especially freelance interpreters, then you can use it on the plane or on the train very easily because it's small again. And it's also very multifunctional because you can even use it late at night in bed to read or to have a Skype chat with your family at home. And I think it's just the perfect companion for us.